everyone, it's Annette Green back again. I am working in my upside down Elizabeth Craft Designs week by week 2023 memory keeping planner. This is the vintage black in the full size planner. I am working on my second one because it's just gotten so full. So each week I do one page, something that's going on in my life here, and I have a complete playlist if you wanted to go back and take a look. If you are new, of course, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. I'm sorry that I'm late this time. Usually I'm done by Sunday, but busy, super busy. So that's kind of what this is going to be about today. Okay, so I have my plan in place like usual. I was sitting there thinking like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? All I've done is work constantly. Morning to night, every day this week. Didn't go anywhere, didn't really go out to eat much, just didn't even take any pictures. Looked at my phone, I had a picture of some mushrooms, and I've already done that. So I thought, well, what I have been doing is what I should document, and that is working on designing the December day by day online class for Elizabeth Craft Designs. If you don't know what that is, it's an annual class where I teach it on a Facebook Live, and it's saved there for this special private group that we have. And it's a full planner usually, and just as it sounds, it's a December day by day. So you basically build this planner with me. I design everything, I put out homework, and then I walk through it and we assemble it together. But it is basically one day of every day in December that you would just snap a quick picture, do a little journaling, and you document your December. So this is the third year that I'll be doing this for Elizabeth Craft Designs. Super fun. It's in October 28th. Today's the 2nd, so the homework just went out today on the private Facebook group. But it's kind of nice because in the kit that you would order to take this class, you would get this beautiful sidekick size red planner. You would get the Christmas Field Notes paper pack. There's a die set that goes in here. There are 4 photo pocket pages, which are those clear pages, and stamp set. Die set, stamp set, paper, planner, page protectors. Yeah, that's it. So, one price. You get it from your local scrapbook store or online, and there will be a code on your paper pack. You scan it to get into the private Facebook group, and away you go. But back to this week. So I have my photos printed out over here, a couple different sizes just because I'm not sure what's going to work for sure, but I do have a loose plan. And as I was thinking, I hate to just show, document pictures of piles of little papers. So I took a picture of the first page that you just saw, and then the second page is the spread, and then I also took a picture of my bin of prepared goods for the class. Everybody that takes the class usually does this. You do your homework, you put it in your little baggie. So I thought, well, I might throw that photo in there. But my funnest idea, I think, I was excited about, was I thought, wouldn't it be cute to reprint my class directions, my homework directions, to the size that would fit into this little page pocket. So if you were with me before, I used this half circle pocket thing, and I said I'm going to use this chevron pocket as well soon. This is number 2054, the chevron and round pocket die set from Elizabeth Craft Designs. So you have all this stuff I showed you before, and this is the feature. I want to use this pocket. And if I'm going to use the pocket, then I also want to have some kind of tags to go in the pocket. So I'm going to use number 2055, tab 4 with tags. This is a tab page, but it has all these different size tags here, and then the toppers for the tags. Use those. And then, of course, I have to have, what week is it? 39. So I have to have my number 39, and that's from the Planner Essentials 37 Stitched Letters and Numbers set. And so far, that's the only dies I think that I'm going to use. We'll see. But I thought since I had an extra paper pack that I might incorporate some of those colors and papers to coordinate with the photos over here, because you can see there's a lot of red and green, and that's not really what's going on here. So we can dress this up with those colors. So of course the directions are not this small. They're 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper, but I thought I'll just do little miniatures and then cut these out and slide them in the little pocket. The best way, if you wanted to learn how to do that, Now I took an old school way. Okay, I've got this old tool, a proportional scale from way back in the graphic design days, 30 plus years ago. This was invaluable to those of us in the field when we wanted to reduce or enlarge something for graphic design purposes. So I knew that my page was 8.5 by 11, and you take this cool little tool and you put, let's see, 8.5. Well, actually, I knew that the size needed to be 3 inches wide. So you put the 3 over here to the 8.5. Or is it the other way? Oh, Lord. I'm tired. Can you tell? Put the 8.5 down to 3, and this gives you the percent that you would print this out. So I thought, well, there's got to be an easier way because not everybody in the world's going to have one of these old things. And I went to my engineer husband, Paul, and I said, how do I do this? And oh my gosh, it's so easy. You take the smaller number that you want it to be and you divide it by the bigger number of what it is. 35%. 3 divided by 8.5. Lord. Well, to me this is easier. Okay, and then I had to play around because it was wanting to print it way up here and it was cutting off some stuff. So I did finally pick some sort of poster mode, I don't know, in my print settings, and it put it in the middle, and then I was able to change it to 35%. But now you've got to figure out, since, you know, it's all these pieces of paper, which I see that it's, you know, it's not the most economical way. It's going to be a little waste of paper, but I do reuse scraps like this, believe it or not. Let me reach over here. I do, and I cut down those scraps and I use them as like dividers in kits, or, you know, if I'm doing really small inking projects or whatever, I will use them. So they don't just get wasted. Don't worry. So I have figured out that if I want this to be 3, and I think this was 3 and 7/8, 3 by 3 and 7/8. That's pretty much the proportional 35% of 8.5 by 11. All right, stick with me. I know it's too much. So I have figured out that I need to come over 2 3/4, and I need to come down 3 5/8 to cut this out. So I'm going to do that real quick. I have a couple of sheets stacked one behind the other here. 3 5/8 from the top. I'll just do this one little stack, and then I'm just going to assume that I do the same 2 3/4 from this edge. All right, well, rather than guess, I'm just going to look and say, no, I want my page to be 3 by 3 7/8. Isn't that cute? Makes cute little pages. I can put a little staple in there with my tiny attacher, and then that'll fit right into that little pocket. Oh my gosh, it's just so cute. Look at that. I need to make sure that's going to fit in that little pocket. I mean, I already measured this, of course, but yeah, that's where I came up with the 3, as I measured first. So I've got my little Tim Holtz old tiny attacher. And it just puts the tiniest little staple in there. Isn't that cute? And this is separate on purpose because this was their little reference paper that they had for the class. See here, I've already put some of this to use. I just grabbed one of those stacks of cutaway papers and I put a little staple in the corners, and that's going to replace this little icky dirty thing that's been on my table here. This is where I set down my dauber. Instead of getting my table all inky, I'll stick it on there, but this definitely needed to be replaced. I love a teaching moment. I really do, honestly. So I just grabbed the die and I grabbed my pretty paper and I cut it out, and I forgot to pay attention that the page that I'm working on is a left-hand page. So I would have had to flip the die over before I cut it out of this pretty paper, because now the holes are over here on the left. And yes, I have all this other paper. I could recut it, but look, it's got all these great cut aparts, and I was planning on using a couple things from here, as well as this sheet. So I'm just going to show you a fix in case you do something like this. That's just as easy to do. I just cut another strip of the paper. It's about 1/2 inch long, or wide, and I'm just going to stick it in there. I'm going to have to trim it down a little bit, and then I'll repunch the holes over here on this side. I think that's going to work just fine. You just have to cut that off. Okay, And while I fix that, if you joined me for the Facebook Live I did the other day, I was talking about my new purchase by My Sweet Petunia. It's the glue press, and I have to say I do love it. It's got this great little stand. It's got a little silicone pad in there so that while you're working on a project you can set that in there and you don't have to keep putting your pin back in your glue. And I did this just to test it out for a couple of hours the other day, and the glue never dried up, the tip never got plugged. And it's super easy to squeeze. It's easy on my hands. And it comes with an empty bottle of glue. Empty bottle, not of glue. It comes with glue in one of these, and then it comes with another refillable bottle. And I discovered from someone who was watching the Facebook Live that that tip is a little bit bigger diameter for thicker glues. So that's pretty cool. And as I understand it, this glue has a little bit longer drying time, so you do have some wiggle room to kind of play. You know, sometimes with really intricate die cuts, you have to hustle. And by the time you get around to the other end of something, the beginning is already dry. And see how I laid it down? I should put it in the holster. Shouldn't do that. Okay, so I fixed it. I fixed it wrong. I glued it over here. I was supposed to glue it over the holes right there. Do we care? Am I going to cover that up? Goodness me, I'm tired. I don't think I can fix it, so I'm just going to do that again in the right place. No big deal. To my defense, I was up very, very late because I promised that I would have the day-by-day homework uploaded and ready today. And knowing that we have people from all over the world, of course, today is relative, right? So I just determined that I was going to stay up last night until it was completely done. So I think I hit the pillow around 1:30 in the morning, which for me that is really, really late because I go to bed super early and usually rise super early. Okay, I fixed it. It looks good. I'm just taking some green ink now. I could use brown just to hit those edges. I don't need to hit that because that's going to fold over. Because sometimes when you fold over on these score lines, you get a little crack in the paper, just slightly. And we see a little bit of that white. We don't want that. And I think green is kind of pretty. Brown would be great. But this just sort of blends right into the paper. Okay, so fixed. No worries. All right, so I did prepare a couple of other things here. I have cut out a tag for that photo. I've cut out another tag for journaling, and this is also from the paper collection, a little journaling card. And then my main tag here. And because this one and this one are going to be in the front and probably get pulled out a lot, I'm going to double them up. So I've just cut two of the same, and I'm going to sandwich them together, glue them together, put a little topper on there. Same thing with this one, but I think the journaling one that's going to be way in the back is going to be fine as is. Okay, so let's get this guy on here. Now you could use double-sided tape, of course, but I'm going to use my little gun here. And when you do one of these pockets, make sure that you fold in the sides first and the bottom up last, because it may not be obvious, but when you go to put things in the pocket, if this is in here first and these come around, then everything that goes in the pocket hits there and doesn't want to go all the way down in the pocket. Okay, so it does take a little bit longer for that glue to dry. That is true. But I am going to use this kind of glue to get the pocket on here because I want to be able to slide in place. And if I use a tape runner or some kind of double-sided adhesive, I don't really have that sliding ability. You got to get it right in the first shot, and I'm not super good at that, I have to admit. So I will repunch the holes. I'm getting caught on these holes here with this nozzle. That's what you're seeing there, but make sure I get plenty on there. There, okay. And then just line it up with the page. Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right, I'm going to put a few little clips on here because I want that to dry nice and tight. Alrighty, now that that is dry on my page, I can repunch the holes over here, and we've already got the page done on the other side, so I can just use that as a guide. I'm going to use my crocodile with the large hole and just line right up with the holes that are already there. I went ahead and did my journaling on my tag over there. Okay, so there we are. We're in the right place now. Looks good. Whew, you guys are so patient with me. I really appreciate that. Okay, so there's my page. I've inked the edges. I went ahead and glued these two together and these two together. Got my journaling done. Now I just need to make some decisions at this point because you know, things like, do I want a photo mat? And yes, I always do, because this is okay on here, but I really feel like I need to put something around it. That will be okay as is, but then again, I feel like something needs to ground this here. So I'm just kind of thinking of just using black. Okay, I was just going over here to my die cutter, and I was cutting out these little toppers, and I'm going to do them in black. There's a couple different styles. I'm just going to use all three because why not? And I grabbed, you know, some of my spare cardstock out of my bin over here, and I was about to cut some more, and I thought, well, this is one of those moments where I could teach you a little something. When you have something that's scored like this folds in half, as you can see, right? You might want to pay attention to your cardstock when you're going to do that. Just like if you were card making and scoring and folding a card, paper grain is kind of important, right? So like that cracking that happened here, well, there's no way that we could avoid that on this particular one because we had the paper folding on 3 sides. But there is a grain to the paper where you can kind of avoid that if you only have a single fold. And so what I do is I just take any thing that I'm about to cut and I give it a little bend. Now this is very resistant. This is fairly thick cardstock. I want to say at least 100 pound. But when I bend it this way, it's really resisting me. But when I bend this way, so much easier. So that tells me that that's the way I want it to fold. This is the grain. And so, well, rather than use that big piece, I'll do that here. Yep, so this way. So that means I want that score to be going in line with the grain when I die cut this out, and then it won't crack and it won't fight me when I try to fold it over, and it definitely won't crack the paper. And this is black cardstock, so it doesn't have a white core or anything to see, but definitely, you know, folds over very easily. If I had cut that 100-pound cardstock against the grain, that folding, just that simple action would have been so much harder. So just for what it's worth. So I am going to glue these on here now. I think I'll put the little one on the little tag. This guy is the journaling that goes in the very back. Maybe I'll use that one on that one and that one on that one. Okay, so these are super easy, and I want to put them on first, as you notice, before my photos, so that I know I have enough room. While I had the black cardstock out, I went ahead and cut a 39 out of that. I had already cut one, if you didn't see that, out of that lighter colored paper. But I did black just in case I wanted a little drop shadow while I had the black stuff out. Okay, so I'm going to continue to do this, get these on my tags, and then we'll go forward with our plan here. All right, I was kind of making a plan here, trying to see how this was going to look. I will say it does get fat quick, so it's going to be a thick page. Knowing that, I don't want too much bulk just right in the middle, and so I don't think I want this tag to be able to come in and out. I think we're going to just glue this right in place, way up high. And also, knowing what I know now, I probably would double up this little pocket thing. At least this section right in here with these dividers, because I feel like this is a little fragile now for everything. You know, I know people aren't going to go and be pulling things in and out all the time, but still, it's something to keep in mind when you're building that particular pocket. You might want to consider that. So I'm just going to put glue all on the back of this, and liquid glue so it'll slide down in there. And I'm going to keep it nice and high like I showed you. Oh, see, I'm still getting used to that thing, wanting to lay it down instead of put it back in the holster. Make sure it's straight. Okay. Okay. And we can, you know, we can still read the journaling. I'm glad I didn't put anything below it and waste a bunch of time and effort. And so this one would be the first one in the pocket because it's the next size down. And yeah, there we go. It wants to hit that thing. And then the next little pocket, you see how those could be very fragile. And then my little directions will go in the very first part here. So I wouldn't want to handle this a whole lot, but that's looking good. That's very cute, but it is super thick. All right, and I have my 39 over here, and I still haven't decided, but I think I'm just going to keep it simple and do a little black drop shadow down here, perhaps. And then I'm going to look in my cut aparts and see if I can kind of dress it up a little bit more, and then definitely put some hole reinforcers here. Getting a couple of things ready here. Cutting out this red tag. I've got the ruler here. I've got a little December calendar, my little milk cap, 39. And I want to put some hole reinforcements. So I just grabbed the die set that comes with this kit for the December day by day, and it does have some hole reinforcers in there, just the 3 circles and 3 stars. So I thought, well, why not? And I've got this larger red tag here, and I like the idea of the red. So let's see if I can fit all of these on here. Maybe I'm going to run these through the die cutter. Ooh, barely. Well, that one star got a little cut off. So I may grab another little piece of red somewhere. There's plenty in my scraps. I think I'll do 3 circles up there, and I'll do the stars down here on the pocket. Now, if I could get that to work, maybe I won't have to redo that. Ah, that's what I'll do. I'll just kind of maybe work that in over it. Because I'm lazy. I'm tired. Okay. Got them on there. Making a plan down here. I got those on there just fine. Making a plan down here. I wish that I had cut this a little longer. And so I'm going to cut a new one. I want it to go all the way across the page, but I also wanted to show you this cute rickrack die that's in the kit, which was something that I specifically asked for. Esther Glass is the one who produces the designs for the paper and the dies, and she often asks for input since I'm teaching, especially for the dies and stamps. And I said, well, how about we put like a rickrack in there? And Esther is Dutch, and I don't know if it's just because she's Dutch and maybe they call it something else, or if she doesn't sew, but she said, I need you to explain to me what is rickrack. This is what I call rickrack, right? That wavy ribbony stuff. I want to add some of that to the top of my page, I think, up here, just to get a little more red. And this is a really nice deep red that matches everything else I'm doing here. So I'm just gonna die cut right off of that tag. for that. And it just cuts out the cutest, tiniest little rickrack, and it's lovely. Believe it or not, that's probably my favorite little element in this die set. Simple as it is. Yeah, I'm thinking that might be a great idea for a future release for me, is to have some rickrack options. Trims like that would be really fun because you could use those all year long and everything. Okay, so I think I want to have that go across the top, real cute like that. And then I have this little December calendar. I do believe I want to stick over here as well. I do want those to overlap because I think that would look weird if they didn't. Well, that would cover everything right up. So I think we'll just do like that perhaps. Or this could drop down. I don't know. What do you guys think? You thinking about it? I got my milk cap. So now that I have this to the right length, what I'm thinking is it will go quite a bit close to the bottom, and then this guy might go here, and then this guy can overlap. Yeah, I think I want to cut a little flat spot because I didn't cut it super round. I had to cut it by hand because it was right to the edge of the paper, and you can't really do a like a circle punch without kind of wrecking it. So I think I'm gonna just square it off down there and put it right there. Let it overlap the little pocket slit a little. Looking good. And then 39, do I have room? That might have to come up over the pocket a little bit too. Won't hurt anything, especially if I double it up with this drop shadow idea. It'll make it more sturdy. So that's a loose plan. I'm liking it. I'm gonna go for it. And you might notice as I'm going along, I'm leaving all of this in here as I build this page. You might be tempted to take everything out, but the reason I'm doing it this way is because I know that that bulk is going to be there, and I'm just going with it, not fighting against it by building with those things in there. And of course I didn't put glue on that top half, as you noticed, hopefully. Just right there. That looks good. So I just have to get this last little bit on here. I don't want that to be way over the 9 like that, so I'm going to snip this. And I'm trying to even kind of hide that end, so hopefully that's going to work fine. It looks like it will. Already inked the edges. So this is it for this week. Next week is going to be crazy busy again because we get ready to leave for the Canada retreat in Banff. My husband's coming with me. Gosh, I'm so excited about it, but there's so much to do to get ready to even just do that and travel internationally and all that stuff. So it'll be a lot of planning and prepping and ironing out the last little details. And also I have to really kick butt this week and start preparing my kits for the cruise in November. So it's a very busy time. Man, I am super happy with that. I hope you guys like that. I like that a lot. Don't you love it when designers say that about their own work? But you know, sometimes I'm taken by surprise when things turn out just how I kind of hoped they would, and they still look nice in the end. That's always a plus, a bonus. So let's get it in the planner. Awesome. Very happy with that. I got my little pages. I've got my tags in here with my photos, and then I've got my journaling in the back. Super happy. So I hope you enjoyed it as well. Hope you learned a little something. And I will see you next week in next week's video, week number 40. Thanks for watching.